All right, and here we are talking about episode 16 of The Walking Dead, season 11. Still hard to believe that fall will bring the final stretch of the show. I'm Justin, rolling at it again solo tonight, so if it's extra boring, I kind of sort of apologize. Hopefully everybody's having a good night. I see the comments section has been lit up, which is awesome. I'm glad to see y'all are in here, and I've already starting out with people, already better than last week. Hope everybody's doing well as we wrap up part 2 of the 3-part ending of The Walking Dead. And I'm just going to start, of course, spoilers. So if you hadn't seen tonight's episode, I'm not sure why you clicked on this, but save yourself some heartbreak and come back once you've seen the episode. But anyways, getting into tonight's episode, I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it was one of the best I've ever seen, but it was definitely a good one. I guess Hornsby is the new Two-Face. I'm not sure where all this coin toss thing is coming from, but hey, at least it's heating up. I like Lance Hornsby as a villain. I will say that. Like, I really am glad. I thought they for sure were going to kill him off this episode and then I move on. So I'm glad to see him kind of sticking around for a little bit, maybe being the big baddie leading up. Lots of things left up in the air there in that ending. I mean, we see the Commonwealth now owns Alexandria and Hilltop. It's that the Oceanside. What do y'all think? Do y'all think Oceanside's about to get massacred? Because I mean, it really. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. Donkosaurus Rex says I think they should just take Oceanside to the Commonwealth. Ways to kill them. Also, why claim Hilltop now that nothing is there? Yeah, no kidding. Appalachian American says, so glad it was Daryl that got to kill Leah. Yeah, and I'm just kind of glad Leah's gone, to be honest. I mean, I didn't hate Leah, but she's just kind of the villain that I feel like nobody really asked for. What's up with the birds? I don't know. I was wondering the same thing. Let's see. Daryl finally getting the Fires magazine all over somebody's face. But yeah, trying to figure out where this is gonna go now. I mean, the Commonwealth has is about to start falling apart. It looks like if you saw the previews for next season, it looks like we're gonna get a Negan, and it could be where they're splicing it up, but it looked like we're gonna have a Negan Mercer conversation. So that'll be cool. I'm going to tell you, I am going to go ahead and do AMC Plus, though probably what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to watch the episode in advance and then rewatch it the night of. I mean, I know people want them when AMC premiere drops them or whatever, but I'm getting so tired of the spoilers, man. Like, I get on YouTube and it's like I already went into this episode knowing that Daryl was going to kill Leah because I'm on YouTube surfing around and it's like Daryl kills Leah. So I'm going to start watching them just to avoid myself the damn spoilers. Drago says Maggie saying she trusts Negan was jaw dropping. It was I can't talk. Excuse me. I'm terrible at doing these alone. Jaw dropping. Yes, it was, but it very well justified. Negan has, I think, at this point, really shown that he is, he's a changed man. Wouldn't that be the plot twist of the century? Like, ha, psych. And then but no, let's see. Nerd Dungeon says, you must have seen the same spoiler I saw, a bunch of buttholes on YouTube. I know, man. It's like, okay, AMC premieres out. Yeah, whatever. You can watch it a week early. That's cool. But like, well, how about wait till it airs before you post crap like that? Henry Lemoyne says Oceanside is definitely getting massacred in episode 17 because it would be anticlimactic for Lance to flip the coin. It lands on the good side where he'd be like, okay, never mind. Just wanted to scare you a little bit. That Raw guy says, we're just going to keep killing off red shirts instead of main cast. The appeal of this show was that any of our group could die at any point. The show ends end so soon and everyone surviving will be poor. Actually, so we're doing a series. If you're not familiar with it, myself and a friend Jesse are doing a Walking Dead retro review series where we're going back to episode 1. So we're in. I think next one we're doing is episode 3 of season 2. But we're going back and rewatching it from the beginning. And I mentioned that I think in the last podcast that, at that point in season 2 of The Walking Dead, I was telling Jesse, I try not to spoil anything for her, but I did say, one thing that I think that made the show suffer was that back in season 2 on up to, I'd say, like season 6, maybe. Yeah, probably around season 6 is where it kind of started getting a little more predictable. But at that point, anybody was up for grabs. Like anybody could be killed off at any point. And then now you get to, the last few years of The Walking Dead, and it's like they're terrified to kill off anyone of note. I mean, I've said it a bunch of times, but back at the season finale, like a season or 2 back, where Gabriel got bum rushed by the Whisperers and Maggie and them rolled in and saved the day. Like that's where Gabriel should have died. He would have went out like a boss, and like his story would have been complete from coward to boss, but they're just so terrified to kill off, it seems, any main characters. Lance throws off some weird governor vibe almost. I totally get governor vibes from Lance, man. I agree with you 100%. I definitely think that Lance, I think Lance doesn't have the temper tantrums that the governor has. He does, but they're quieter, if that makes any sense. Like Lance is certainly off his rocker, but he's able to keep himself composed a lot better than the governor was. He's kind of like the governor 2.0. Beaver says nearly everyone who does the Walking Dead videos on YouTube is on an AMC Plus schedule. I know. And I'm getting it for the next half or the last part of the show, which I'm getting it too late, but I just like tradition, man. I mean, tradition is we watch it on Sundays and then we discuss it. So I hate to, by trying to stick to tradition too, we've also dropped in viewership tremendously. So, next time I'm just going to have to play ball. I might do 2 of them. Maybe I'll do a AMC Plus live stream and then do like a, Sunday live stream for those that don't have AMC Plus. I don't know. Maybe if I can find time to do that. Eternal Rex says, I was a bit behind, but just finished the mid-season finale. The last 8 episodes look to be fantastic. I hope so, man. I mean, they're ending like my second favorite show of all time. So it better be fantastic. Hope you've been well, man. Let's see. Dunkosaurus Rex, they killed so many main cast who were ready to become main characters back when the heads on spikes that it caused a lost generation of main characters. No one to replace anyone who gets killed now. Well, then you got characters that you just don't see anymore, like Luke. I mean, I know a lot of times it's because the actors are doing other stuff, but it's like Luke and now Yumiko. I mean, which I really could take it or leave it with Yumiko, but like, where's she at? What is she doing? And maybe there's been an explanation that I've missed, but then you have so many characters that you just don't see some of them for episodes and episodes. And then when they come back, you're supposed to care about them. Maddie Williams says the other storyline with the group at Commonwealth, where is that going? I don't know, but R.I.P. Berto, man. Got to keep your head down in those situations. But, oh, you know what? You said Commonwealth. I'm thinking Hilltop. Sorry, guys. I'm exhausted. I don't know. I think that the way Pamela slammed that down on their desk, it's almost as if she knows something. Do you think Pamela knows that that she's behind it? I think it's going to go towards I think that storyline's going to an unseating of powers. You know what I mean? I think it's definitely going to lead to Pamela maybe not being in charge anymore, or maybe having to change up the way that their society runs. Let's see. Henry Lemoyne says, I think Lance might be the most intelligent villain from the whole series besides Negan. I could see that. Like I said, he's like the Governor 2.0, man. He's like the governor, but way more composed and, a lot, like I said, a lot smarter for sure. Part 1 and 2 seem slow. Part 3 better be complete chaos. I agree, Dragos. Random fact: the owners of the farm in season 2 had baby monitors all over the house to make sure that nobody was swearing in their house. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. I didn't realize no one was cursing in the house. Maddie Williams says no Carol tonight. I know. What's she up to? Behind the scenes doing Carol stuff, probably baking some poisonous cookies or something, some acorn cookies. Would be cool if someone sent you money via PayPal to pay for AMC Plus. Oh man, you don't have to do that. I'll pay for it myself. I'm a sucker for tradition, man. I like watching because I think The Walking Dead means so much to so many people for so many different reasons. And for me, I watched season 1 with a good friend of mine who shortly after went off to the Marines, and I still have bad love for the guy, but we don't really get to hang out like we used to, and we only talk occasionally. So I always think of him with season 1, and then I watched the first half of season 2 up at my apartment, which was like an hour from my parents' house. And then we made it a tradition where every Sunday I would go down to my parents' house, eat dinner, and we would all watch The Walking Dead. And eventually that kind of stopped as well. But for many, all the way up through, I'd say season 7 or 8 at least. Basically from like halfway through season 2 all the way to like season 8, every single episode I watched was at my parents' house with my family, and my dad was really into it. And so, it's got a lot of sentimental value to me. So it's like, it's not that I, am against AMC Plus. I like watching it Sunday, and then, used to be watching the Talking Dead afterwards. But anyways, that's way off course. But let's see. Nerd Dungeon says Lance is like the governor if the governor was a virgin. I can see the secret motivation behind all of Lance's evil actions is I just need to get laid. Donkasaurus Rex says, true. I think they've kicked the Yumiko actress off the show after she cut her hair short. They could have easily explained that. They're now in the Commonwealth, and it's like a simple line of like, you got your hair cut. Yeah, I thought it'd be nice to get my hair cut now that we're in society. And I was blah, 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 something. Eternal Rex says, look like we're going to have a season 7 premiere situation at Oceanside. Maybe. Depending on how Two-Face's coin falls. Henry Lemoyne says they were heavily implying that Sebastian is a drug addict. He's very eccentric. Very eccentric. And it's funny because I saw him on The Talking Dead for like a few minutes before we did I think it was last week's live stream. And he seemed like a nice guy. And I think they were talking about on the show how it's hilarious that like all of your evil douchebag people are usually like the nicest people in real life. If you didn't follow the comic releases, stop reading now. Not a story spoiler. So The Walking Dead released fake covers as to throw off spoilers. Do you think that could be what they're doing with the spinoffs? We talked about that, I think last week or the week before we mentioned that. And I said, somebody, maybe even you, had commented that on one of our Walking Dead retro reviews or one of these live streams a couple weeks ago. But that's one of the best things that I've heard. Like, I legit, part of me believes that is the case. So if you don't want spoilers on the comic or anything like that, you might want to tune away. But so what The Walking Dead did, and I remember this very well, me and JP, which by the way, for all you JP lovers out there, don't give up hope yet. I spent the entire day with JP yesterday. I'm talking from like lunchtime on to like 10 o'clock last night. I was with him all day. So whenever somebody's like, is there any, problems? No, love JP. Just schedule's not working, but I did get to hang out with him all day yesterday. And there's a chance we might be getting something going here. Said that before, but this time it seems, way more likely. But anyways, I remember JP and I, like, everything was normal. It's like we were getting the comics. We read the Walking Dead issue, and we were like looking at the covers, and they all kind of were out there. Like, you're thinking, what the hell's going on this issue 2 months from now? But they were then the next month. I remember JP coming in, just basically like telling me, like, dude, The Walking Dead's over. I'm like, what? He's like, this is the last issue. And they had made these fake covers to mislead us comic readers into thinking that we were still business as usual. And I'm starting to really believe that some of these spinoff shows like Daryl and Carol and like I thought the Maggie Negan like story synopsis seemed a bit out there, and it was talking about the residents of Manhattan, and like it to me, it just seemed a little silly, I guess would be a word for it. So I'm kind of thinking maybe they're doing that. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's a possibility. Let's see. Michael Myers says, bruh, I wish Leah could have just crippled Maggie or perhaps killed her. I don't know, man. I like Maggie now. I mean, I had my brief little stint where Maggie was kind of on my, excuse my language here, but she was on my shit list because of the whole Rick thing. But no, I like Maggie now, but I'm just kind of glad that Leah's gone because I feel like, again, she's just the villain nobody really. She's kind of like Pope, man, like just the villain we didn't really need right now. So Leah is a trained military killer and can take out an entire convoy of soldiers by herself, yet struggles against Maggie. Okay. I thought something very, very similar, but one thing to remember, and I'm not saying that, I'm not saying I agree with you 100% because I thought the same thing, but one thing that's interesting though is you got to remember like what all Maggie and her people have been through. Like even though Maggie doesn't have like military training, I mean they are some hardened people. I mean they've been through stuff. I mean you have trained military go in against rebels and struggle. You know what I mean? So I agree with you, but also you have to remember what all Maggie and her group have been through. I mean it's been literally a fight for survival every day. So while they might not have training, they certainly have, have had like natural training, just fighting nonstop. Let's see. Donkeyosaurus Rex says, yeah, Justin, similar story with me. Watched with my friends for years. Our lives changed. We stopped watching it together. But part of my love for the show comes from that, I think. That's the beautiful thing about, entertainment and this show and even other shows is that we all have that, it's a lot of sentimental tied into it. And same way with Lost for me. I've got a lot of sentiment tied up in Lost. So yeah, man, it's meant a lot to a lot of people. The Nerd Dungeon, The Walking Dead is what my wife and I originally bonded over in season 2 when we met, and it became our tradition to this day. I totally get what you mean. The Raw Guy says, imagine the leader of if the leader of the rebellion is Rick. I'm working in the shadows, Daryl. Daryl would be like, why didn't you invite me to your rebellion party, Rick? Because I still hate you, Daryl. Let's see. Henry Lemoyne. Can we all agree that Lance has great taste in clothing? Dude looks sharp in every scene he's in. I thought, man, I am with you. When he walked up to Oceanside, I remember thinking, dude, that is a dope vest and tie and shirt. Like, he might be a piece of shit, but he is a stylish piece of shit. Let's see. Eternal Rex says Lance's inspiration comes from Saul Goodman and Two-Face. Yeah, I could totally see that. I think I could see that. Good combo there. LSK92. Yeah, well, speaking of the governor, my wife is hyped about a possible episode spinoff of him. I don't know, man. I may have to move. Dude, when they were talking about, because I think JP and I might have done a podcast. I don't know. I know we did a podcast about Tales of the Walking Dead or like some of the spinoff shows a year or two back. And I was so excited. I was like, man, I want to like go back. And I know the only challenge is going to be some of these actors have aged. I know they can de-age them with makeup or CGI or something, but these actors have gotten older. Like I went back and was watching like I think it was season 7 and noticed like how young Aaron looks. Like Ross Marquand, especially without the beard, just looks so young. So I think that'd be the only challenge. But like I really want to see like a governor, like maybe how he became the governor. I'm hoping we get to see Abraham and how Abraham and Eugene met Rosita, stuff like that. Let's see. The Nerd Dragon, his outfit is always on point. Beaver says AMC is a publicly traded company with legal obligations to shareholders. Faking a major release would get them sued quickly as their stocks plummeted. Well, that sucks. Eternal Rex says that Rye guy, they're doing something, because if you go back and look at the trailer for the last 8 episodes, they've teased something. I'm not sure if everybody else caught it. Well, share it with us, Eternal Rec. What is it? Because I didn't catch anything. But a lot of times that I'm fighting a 3-year-old as I'm trying to watch it. So, but tell me, what did we not see? Henry Lemoyne says, since that newspaper is out about Pamela and the people are going to start rioting, I think Lance might use that to his advantage to try to get her kicked out of power so that he can take over. It's always some Weasley dude wants to take your seat, man. Doggosaurus Rex says, you talking about Daryl holding the revolver? Yeah, I saw that. I mean, didn't Judith have it though? I thought I saw that and definitely saw the significance in it. And as now a proud Colt Python owner myself, it was one of the first things that caught my eye. But I was wondering if that if he's like using it. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of channels like Movie Idol and George Drake and other great Walking Dead channels on YouTube talking about or seeing the titles of their videos, because I really don't have time to watch much anymore, but that like Rick's return confirmed or the Rick spoil something. So a lot of people speculating that Rick is going to come back for at least like the last episode. Henry Lemoyne says, I'm so glad we don't have to deal with the Reaper storyline anymore. Leah was so bland and boring. It was so satisfying when Daryl blew her head off. I agree with that 100%. In fact, I agree with it so much, I'm going to give you a round of applause. I know, cheesy, but I agree. Bid Soul 2 says, hey, Justin, glad I could finally catch you live for once. When is there going to be an impactful death going to happen instead of Hilltop crew member 2 we've never seen? I know, right? R.I.P. Berto, man. Wasn't that his name, Berto? I agree with you. We were talking about that earlier. They absolutely need to step it up. I mean, I know that I'll be sad and bitter when certain characters get killed off, but I mean, that again, going back to like the earlier seasons, like we're doing on our retro reviews, man, that's what made this show so good, was that nobody, I remember when which I was going to say spoilers, but I would hope you've seen season 2 by now. Or season 3, but I was gonna say, I remember when we were watching it and they were walking through the prison and Herschel got bit, and I remember my dad. I kind of figured they were going to go with the leg chop off thing, but it's like as soon as he got bit, I remember my dad saying, "Man, ain't nobody safe on this show," and it's just like they've gotten so far away from that. Let's see. I mean, I remember like Honest Trailers one time was doing a Walking Dead, like funny trailer, like they used to do with all kinds of shows. And it was like, I can't remember who did it. Somebody did it. But anyways, it was a funny trailer, but it was talking about, man, the guys at Game of Thrones have better job security. And it's like, it used to be that way. So they really do need to get back to an impactful death. Eternal Rex says to Donkosaurus Rex, yes, I think everyone will find out something about his status. I hope. Can't believe Negan and Father G still haven't mentioned seeing helicopters and Jadis trading people. That would be, I have not thought about that until now, Eternal Rex, but you certainly think that is something that would come up in conversation. Like, oh yeah, guys, I know like it's sad Rick just blew himself up on the bridge or whatever, but one thing I do need to mention, Jadis is trading people to some folks in a helicopter. That's a good point. Definitely seems kind of like a plot hole. Someone would have definitely talked about that. Donkosaurus Rex says, exactly, and soldiers aren't trained to be one-person killing machines. They work as groups. Yep, exactly. Let's see. Lance doing his best Harvey Dent in this episode. I know, man. I'm telling you, that actor could certainly be like the next Harvey Dent in the Robert Pattinson Batman universe. Michael Myers says, in my opinion, they always make the main characters invincible all the time. It would be interesting for a change when the main character gets their ass beat for a change in a fight. They used to, just like when Rick almost got choked out by the governor. Or when, Glenn got his head bashed in. They used to do that. Now it's just plot armor for days. Let's see. Would Lance be like the accountant for the Barn of Pleasures or the lube dispenser guy? I think Lance would be like a recruiter. I think Lance would would go out and recruit people. He seems like a suave businessman. Like you'd be out with your group fighting zombies in the woods, and Lance would just walk up and be like, hello there. Hi. Have you heard of the Barn of Pleasures? And he would recruit you to come back. where then King Ezekiel would welcome you with open arms and pants to his ankles. Let's see. Doctosaurus Rex, I think euthanize is the preferred terminology. What were we talking about there, man? Refresh my memory. Bed Soul 2 says Father Gabe should have got his comic death and someone should have died in this episode from the main crew. Remember when that used to be the way it worked? Was like in a lot of finales and premieres, someone very important died. Let's see. LSK92. The problem about a throwback about the governor is seeing him as a coward, which he was in the books. I don't know that they're I agree with you. I don't know that they're going to follow the book story arc, though, because, you know, spoilers. If you haven't read like The Rise of the Governor book, number one, you should. It's really good. It's definitely the best in that series. And then they tried too hard to make Lily like the new star of that universe, and it just kind of lost interest. But The Rise of the Governor is really good, and it's really brutal. Like it's a brutal book. But like, again, spoilers, if you want to read it, tune away and come back. But, you know, in that you find out that it's kind of dumb. I really wasn't a fan of the ending of the book. And I say, so the way it worked was like you had Brian and you had Philip Blake. Brian and Philip Blake, they were brothers. And, you know, throughout, Philip has a daughter. Philip goes through his transformation throughout the book where he, you know, you're thinking like, man, like, yeah, he's turning into the governor, and then he dies. And then Brian, who's been a coward the entire time, decides I'm going to become my brother, and then just decides to start being that way. Like, it was really kind of dumb because it's like, no, Brian, even though the book followed Brian mostly, should have killed off Brian and had Philip been the governor. So you basically find out that Philip Blake, the governor's real name is actually Brian, and he's just more or less playing the character of his brother. I don't know. I think they try to go too deep in that one. I think they should have just everything Philip had been through made him, he would have been the governor. But anyways, that's a tangent. But yeah, I don't think they're going to follow that, though. I think they're going to do something totally different because in the show, his name is Philip, and I think they gave a nod to the books when he meets those people in the apartment complex, and they ask him what his name is, and he says Brian. I feel like that wasn't him saying his name was actually Brian. I feel like that was him. That was just kind of a nod. He was given a fake name. Yeah, you know what I mean? Anyway, sorry guys, I'm horrible at this by myself. Let's see. Where were we at? Dogosaurus Rex says Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita for sure. Michael Cutlets was completely gray-haired on The Talking Dead a few weeks back, though. But hey, you know what? He doesn't really have red hair either, so they could just dye that bad boy right up. Let's see. The Right Guy. What has gotten around the group more, Rick's hat or Rosita? Look, man, don't Rosita, she got to get hers too, man. Don't be giving. I mean, be like, look, we've survived a lot together. Why not just hook up? Let's see. The Nerd Dragon said, the Nerd Dungeon, sorry. I want to see the stories of how Negan and the governor rose to power and some of the first wars they fought. Yeah, we kind of got a little bit of that with the Negan backstory. It would be cool to go back and see how he formed up the, you know, like the Saviors. I noticed viewership's up tonight. I'm like, yes. And then I realized, oh, wait, The Talking Dead is not on tonight. Well, it is, but it's coming on later because of that other show. Let's see. Eternal Rex says there was a clip of Daryl looking at a python. And then he was looking at the gun. I'm sleepy, man. You got to bear with me. He's looking at Rick's python. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I definitely think they want us to think Rick's coming back. I just don't know. In my heart, I don't feel like Rick's coming back for the end of the show. Do you think they could do a spinoff episode on the tank soldier in the Tales of the Walking Dead? The tank soldier from episode 1 that would be. I thought you were talking about the guy that was with the governor's posse that was driving the tank with the really raspy voice. I was gonna say I didn't like him at all. So, but yeah, that would be really cool. And he actually, what was his thing? There's some Easter egg with him. So the actor that played what was it? The actor who played the zombie in the tank did something else in the show. I'll have to look that up. We'll have to get back to that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Judith does have it, says Eternal Wreck. Doggosaurus Rex says Michael Myers. I think they did some webisodes of that guy. Henry Lemoyne says, I saw the promo for episode 17. Lance is holding the coin and it's covered in blood. Do you think that might be right after he orders his soldiers to kill all of Oceanside? I mean, I agree in real world tactics, it would be stupid to kill all those people instead of just bringing some of them back to the Commonwealth, if nothing else, to work. But with that said, I do think for dramatics, we need to start off episode 17 with that coin landing on whatever it needs to land on and them just gunning down Oceanside. It would be heartbreaking, but like we need that kind of like, holy crap, shit's getting real moment, you know? Let's see. Jake G 244 says, I want Rick to come back and embrace Daryl like Ryan Gosling in The Notebook. It wasn't over. It still isn't over. And then they just start making out. And then Rick's like, I forgive you, Daryl. I want to take you to this barn. Our buddy King Ezekiel started it. First, you have to bathe. And Lemoyne says, George Drake has a cool accent. He does. It's like he's British and he's got peanut butter in his mouth. I used to watch George Drake videos all the time, man. That dude's on point. I wish I could churn out as much Walking Dead content as he did, but I've been following his channel for a very long time, and I agree he's got a very cool accent. That Rye guy says, man, I hope Rick comes back and Daryl shits his pants thinking it's a ghost. That would be hilarious for Rick to show up and just mess with Daryl. Be like, ooh, Daryl, you had to fight me and get me stuck in a hole and ultimately lead to me being taken off the show. Rick voice is hurting my throat today. And then Daryl being like, no, Rick, I'm so sorry. Thank God Leah's dead. And that forgettable Pope guy with the weird hat thing. Yeah, that whole story arc just it felt like they didn't know what to do with Maggie because Lauren Cohen had like temporarily left the show. And I guess they didn't know if she was coming back. And then she did come back. And they were like, okay, well, that's one of our biggest characters. So we happily welcome her back. But now what are we going to do with her? Because I'm not going to lie, I would have liked to have seen Maggie in the Whisperer arc. So, but yeah, I felt like the whole Reaper story arc was just something to do with Maggie until they can tie it all back together. Nerd Dungeon says, wait, my virgin comment about Lance didn't deserve a button off the soundboard. I'll give you this one. Boom. The Appalachian American says, could you have imagined if Maggie said to Leah, you can't kill me? It would be to eat, and then Leah shoots her in the face. As much as I don't want to see Maggie die, I do agree we need that kind of shock back in the show, man, especially here towards the end. I mean, like that would have just been mind-blowing, not just referring to Maggie's brains going all over the cabin, but like that would have just been like, what the did we just watch? Let's see. Henry Lemoyne says, it was cool how in the new promo, we saw Negan get interviewed to join the Commonwealth. I know. I wonder if they'll learn of his past doings. Doggosaurus Rex says, how is it that the Vatos made such an impression on everyone, but that weird woman with the van and the mute assistants that Maggie went with elicits so little interest? Oh, you're talking about Georgie. Yeah. I thought I was really, Georgie was kind of pointless. That was just a catalyst to get Maggie off the show for a little while when you think about it, because a lot of the thought was like, okay, Georgie's with the Commonwealth. And honestly, I kind of feel like maybe they were setting up for her to end up actually being Pamela. I mean, she kind of had a similar hairstyle in the comics and all of that, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like they were going to connect that to the Commonwealth, and then they just dropped it when Lauren Cohen like left the show. And then, so I mean, really, that whole thing was pointless. So we don't know. She just, our group can't even go down the street without getting attacked. But apparently, Georgie and her twins can just ride all around the world, just giving people blueprints for windmills, and nobody messes with them unless those twins are just super badass. Let's see. Doggosaurus Rex says, to the Appalachian American, like in the end of 48 hours. Beaverus says there are only 3 total deaths in this arc in the comics, 2 of which are long off the show. With that said, it's clear they've definitely been avoiding main character deaths since Kang took over. Yeah, and I remember JP and I were praising Kang so much in the beginning. I'm not saying she's doing a terrible job by any means, but it's like they are scared to kill off main characters. Let's see. The Rye Guy says Lance reminds me of the guy who sits in the men's bathroom with around 200 aftershaves saying, "No spray, no lay." He flips a coin for it. Let's see. Eternal Rex says Lance would have his soldiers keep Sebastian from trying to get into the Barn of Pleasures. They would need to, man. Sebastian would be a buzzkill in the barn. Probably bring some good drugs, but other than that, he'd be just pointless. Let's see. Henry Lemoyne says the only main character death we've gotten this whole season is Alden. Part 3 better be a bloodbath. They need to Game of Thrones this shit. Donkasaurus Rex says, got the Typhoon novel sitting in my to-read stack. Is that any good? Typhoon. Did I read that? I need to look through my books. I read, like, there was The Rise of the Governor, and then there was, like, a Fall of the Governor part. I read, like, probably a total of 4 or 5 of those books, and I don't know if Typhoon was one of them. If that's a newer one, I haven't read that yet. I read, like, 4 or 5, I think. I have to go back and look. They're all sitting either on. I still have yet to organize any of this, but I wanted to, put all my books up and stuff, and have yet to do that. But I need to. They're either in that shelf or a shelf that's over there next to the safe. Let's see. Eternal Rex says that's a good book. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to find it. I'm not sure if I read it or not. Michael Myers says, if you were ever cast in the Walking Dead show, would you rather play a main character or a villain? I don't know, man. I think it'd be fun to play a villain because I'm pretty laid back. I mean, I'm sure somebody I've wronged in my life sees me as a villain, but I'm I'm fairly nice guy. So I think it'd be fun to get on there. And I'm kind of reserved. It'd be fun just to cut loose and be eccentric and be a villain. That Rye Guy says, if you had to pitch 2 characters to have a spinoff, who would it be? I would love a Negan and Lydia, Last of Us style short story. That would be cool. If I had to pick someone for a spinoff, who would it be? I love my boy Daryl, but Daryl works better in a group. The solo Daryl stuff is just never that entertaining. I'd like to see like Aaron. I like Aaron and Father Gabriel together, but I don't know that a show. There it's good for like an episode. I think I'd like to see like. I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, I have to think about that one. That one's tough. I definitely like to see Aaron in something, man. I think Aaron's a badass. Anything with Negan. I mean, like hell, Negan and anybody would be a good spinoff because Negan's just so fun to watch. Let's see. Taylor Madden says, do you think that Daryl killing Leah to save Maggie was the equivalent to Rick killing Dwight in the comics? It better not be, man, because that is going to be such a wasted moment if that's how they translated the source material. That would just be absolute garbage. Let's see. Nerd Dragon says, not going to lie, the tank soldier from episode 1 could be cool as hell, seeing the military in the streets fighting the hordes of walkers. I really do want some origin stuff, man. It would be cool to see, because we've only gotten like little flashbacks of like Shane and Lori seeing them napalm the streets of, Atlanta, and them visiting Rick in the hospital, or Shane visiting Rick in the hospital, and of course Rick getting shot. And then we had Lori's conversation with the other teacher when she found out Rick got shot. But I really would like to see more back to the beginning and just kind of how, and I think they kind of try to do that with Fear. But I want to see it there. I want to see like what was happening. I mean, it'd be a cool way to bring back like Lori, which I know a lot of people don't want Lori to come back most likely, but I think it would be cool to bring it back and see like how her and Shane, I know they were on the road, but like how they ended up in the rock quarry. And just all of that I think would have been really cool. Let's see. Michael Myers says, who do you think will kill Lance? Probably Carol. I mean, I feel like Daryl would be the obvious choice, but Daryl needs to piss off, man. Daryl gets too many awesome villain kills as it is. Well, I'm still bitter about him killing Beta the way he did. I could see Carol doing it, but they'll probably give it to Daryl. Let's see. Was Luke supposed to be at Oceanside with his girlfriend? Will he die? I feel like that's where he's supposed to be in the story. Of course, I was looking for him in that lineup that they had, but I didn't see him in the group because I really, really liked his character. I thought Luke was awesome. And when he didn't have his head, they should realistically, because, all right, comic spoilers again, but, his head was Luke's head was on the spikes in the comics. So, if and I know that you can't predict the future and all of that, and he ended up going on to work like on those Harry Potter spinoff movies I've never seen, but and I'm sure that's why he's not on the show. But like, if they'd have known that, they should have just put his damn head on the spike. It would have sucked, but at least it would have gave some closure to the character instead of him being like, "Oh, I'm getting laid. Peace out, my friends. I've been on the road with forever. I'm just gonna leave you for this new lay I'm getting and head to the ocean side to never be seen again." But if they all get massacred, it'd be an easy way to write his character off. Let's see. We need a Lance spinoff ASAP. Lance to be such a villain, man. He gets a lot of love, but he's a good villain. Dr. Rex says, I hope we see Heath's adventure in getting help in Tales of the Walking Dead. That would be nice. Poor Heath, another character who got abducted and went to work on another show, and we've gotten no closure on. Could you imagine if we get Rick opening his eyes in the hospital room, kind of coming full circle, but he's at the CRM? That would be dope. Henry Lemoyne says Negan needs to start dressing like how he used to again. Leather jacket, white t-shirt, gloves. He looked cool AF. He did. He 100% does. But then I feel like he's terrified to do that because if he rolls up on Maggie with like a leather jacket and all of that, she's going to the PTSD is going to kick in. She's just going to kill him. Beaver says, I agree that they were foreshadowing the Commonwealth with Georgie, but then changed their mindset. Absolutely. I definitely thought that was where they were going to go. Bruh, I think the Mercer actor is a big guy. I think he could beat Beta. I can see that. He's a beast, man. We got to see some of his workout routine last week. He's a freaking hoss. Henry Lemoyne says, as much of a douchebag as Sebastian is, he probably gets all of the chicks in the Commonwealth because of his status and wealth. Oh, yeah. Dude gets laid without trying, I'm sure. 3 characters, Justin, pick your 3 death predictions for the last 8 episodes. Ooh, 3 character deaths. At this point, are we even sure they would actually kill off 3 people? I feel like even though he's getting that spinoff show, man, I still feel like Daryl's going to die. Maybe as he's laying there dying, that's when Rick will return and find him dying. He'll be like, Rick, I knew you'd come. He'd be like, just shut up and die, Daryl. But I feel like Daryl is going to die from some of the leaked stuff that I've seen, either Lydia or Judith. I don't know, 3 characters. I feel like Aaron, Daryl, and King Ezekiel. If King Ezekiel dies, I will legit cry, but I feel like that's happening. Justin, did you read The Walking Dead, The Alien, or Rick Grimes 2000? I did not read The Alien. I've read the first issue or 2 of Rick Grimes 2000. I have not finished that series, but I've got them over there. I haven't read a comic in 3 months, man. Life's been so busy. Can we send super chats so I can support the channel? I don't know what a super chat is, my friend. But if you want to support the channel, you can always head over to patreon.com and search for the Podcasting Dead. That's a great way to support the channel. And I do apologize to the patrons. We did used to do more Patreon podcasts than we are going to. But I assure you, your Patreon dollars are 100% helping keep this podcast going because, again, none of this equipment is cheap. And to be honest, I am just so busy. I can tell you each and every time I cut on this mic and podcast, I am just about burnout. And there's so many days where I've been, we go to podcast or even some of these Sunday live streams. And I'm like, I'm going to go to bed. And then so if you really want to support the channel, man, Patreon is the best way to do it. And also I have no idea what a super chat is. Jake G, any chance Negan reunites with Dwighty Boy? I don't know, man. They need to bring. I wish Morgan would come back. Morgan and Dwight. Which I mean, the Fear the Walking Dead hadn't been awful. I will say that. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Negan and that blonde Archer chick from the Kingdom. As far as you think, oh, spinoff shows. Yeah, where is the blonde Archer chick after she just straight up rolled out on Maggie? Like, sorry, Maggie, your party kind of sucks now. I'm gonna go see what the Commonwealth's up to. Henry Lemoyne says, my death predictions for part 3 are Aaron, Jerry, Lance, Sebastian, all of Oceanside, Rosita, and possibly Ezekiel. Man, yeah, Rosita's one I left out. I could see Rosita dying, which is going to be messed up, man. She's got Coco. Don't be leaving no. Coco already, his dad's already dead. Don't kill his mom, too. Imagine if they do a spinoff and it's the cops from season 5. Man, I try to forget that whole story arc. For me, the whole Beth Hospital story arc was very, very similar to like the Pope Reaper story arc as far as my disinterest in it. You know what I mean? Like, just was not that into it, but it could be good. They showed that AMC Plus is having what happened on the submarine from Fear the Walking Dead when the outbreak started. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that preview, man. That's awesome. I want to check that out. Henry Lemoyne, I like how Daryl shot Lance in the face, and now he has a scar. He's like a Bond villain now. Now he needs to get a white cat to pet. You can find him a big one of those white, like all white and black tigers. Really be hurting Ezekiel's feeling. Beavers, I'm worried that Max will die after that weird scene with Sebastian. I could see that. Poor Eugene. Just let the boy have love, man. Bide Soul 2 says they're definitely setting Carol up to kill Lance Dwight style. Yeah, I think Carol's going to take him out. I could just see that. They've really inched her closer to him, and it seems like he somewhat trusts her. So I think she's just going to do her Carol thing and be like, Lance, do you want some cookies? And keep playing all innocent and stuff. And then she's going to shank him in the back of the throat. Eternal Rex says, I know it would be too overloaded, but I think it would have been cool to have Morgan and everyone from Fear the Walking Dead eventually end up at the Commonwealth to have an in-game event for the end of the OG series. I agree. I mean, I know that when they started Fear the Walking Dead, they flat out said, like, the two series are never going to merge. They're never going to cross over. And I mean, that already has kind of been false. I mean, we technically had a crossover with that first episode of Fear, one of those seasons where, you know, like after the Negan War was over and Morgan left. I mean, you saw Rick and Carol and who else was it? It was a couple of people from The Walking Dead talking to Morgan before he left. But yeah, I thought they were eventually, I thought they were still full of it and that they would eventually merge. Donkosaurus Rex, I want to see what's up with that car that kidnapped Beth and if they were related to Teddy, since they were making walkers look more normal too. Interesting. Very interesting. Michael Myers, I want an episode on Dr. Jenner and Tales of the Walking Dead, seeing how the CDC lost control of the outbreak. I do too, and I want more on these like running zombies. I mean, like the way it ended with World Beyond. I want to know what's the deal with the fast zombies. A few more questions, and then I'll call it a night because your boy is tired, and I have got some clothes that I need to fold. So, do you think Sebastian chose not to say anything about Max stealing because he thinks, oh, if my mom gets in trouble and gets kicked out of power, then I could inherit everything? That would be really dumb of him because, you know, if she gets kicked out, I mean, he's getting kicked out right with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to kick her out and keep his douchey ass in there. Everybody hates him. Donkosaurus Rex says, will Daryl and Carol meet an alien in New Mexico? I'm not sure. Maybe some extraterrestrial interaction would be a wild twist for the show. Henry Lemoyne says, I'd like to see an episode of Tales of the Walking Dead where they focus on the leader of the wolves, the dude Morgan kept locked up in Alexandria. Yeah, I think that would be all. Because I remember when they first started the whole wolves thing and we were seeing the walkers with the W's on their head. And we were like, does that mean they're property of like the Whisperers? Man, I remember then me and JP talking about like, man, they're really bringing the Whisperers in a whole lot, you know, sooner than they did in the comics. But yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more on them. I just rewatched that scene not too long ago. at the Podcasting Dead. Monetize the channel and make super chat money. Someone's going to have to inbox me and tell me how this works. I am not sure what super chat is, but I'll take some money. That'd be nice. Let's see. A few more. Donkosaurus Rex, we appreciate your effort. Oh, thank you, Donkosaurus Rex. I appreciate you appreciating the effort. The Rye Guy says, Whisperers versus Saviors, who wins? And I feel like the Saviors ultimately could. I mean, back in their prime, they had a ton of weapons and tons of people. I mean, the Whisperers they could bring a horde in, but I mean, the only way the Whisperers are going to win is they just get a horde of zombies so massive they just tear right through the sanctuary. Other than that, I mean, just a straight fight. I mean, I think the Saviors would have it. Let's see. Henry Lemoyne explains that a super chat is a chat someone can send you that has money attached that goes into your bank account, I think. Well, sign me up for super chat. That'd be freaking awesome. Appalachian America says, I think Aaron will kill Daryl for the comic death of Rick killing Dwight. But why, though? I could see that. I could see that, but I'm wondering, like, what situation. The Rye Guy thinks that it's going to be the reverse. Daryl's going to kill Aaron. And if that happens, that's awesome. But, like, what's going to be the scenario that puts one of them killing the other? Beaver says, I'm not seeing a super chat option available. I think you could turn them on, though. People pay money to get highlighted message on the screen, and you get like 50 to 60%, I think. Well, yeah, we need to figure that out. That'd be awesome. The only good part of the cop storyline from season 5 is when Rick ran that dude over. Man, Rick went savage. He's like, shoots him in the head. Then he's like, shut up. Donkosaurus Rex. In my mind, Beth went off to live on a farm upstate. Oh, man. Let's see here. Jake, I'm very worried that they're playing it safe all the way through the end. They rise up and take out the Commonwealth with only deaths or nobodies we barely know. Well, you know Lance is going to die. Let's see. The Rye Guy says, thanks for your time, brother. Look after yourself. Oh, I appreciate it. I do. I'm going to go to sleep here in just a few minutes. What time is it? 11. I'll be able to get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep before work tomorrow, so we'll be all right. Let's see. And finally, we'll end it with Donkosaurus Rex's question. Saviors had all those outposts. Rick's groups wiped out early on. They did, but, you know, Rick's group had guns. I mean, the Whisperers really are only deadly in two ways. One, they, you know, get close enough to stab you, or B, they, you know, send a horde of zombies through through their outposts. But if they're not able to do either of those, they're not as much of a threat. Whereas Negan's group could reach out and touch somebody with all the weapons they had. But that is going to wrap it up for tonight's live stream, man. I guess I have to check. Is Fear the Walking Dead back on next week? If it is, I guess we will be back for Fear the Walking Dead live stream. I kind of feel bad. My OCD. I hate that I didn't cover like the last season or last half of the season, but we'll pick back up if people want it. Just let me know. But in the meantime, I hope everybody has a great night. I'm going to go get some rest, and I will catch up with you soon. I'm Justin. This is the Podcasting Dead, and I hope that you have a wonderful night. I was supposed to turn the music up. I hit. Anyways, I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much.